They say that 365 times in the Bible it says, do not be afraid. So it's like one for each day. It's like God wanting us to get that message ingrained into our minds and our hearts every day. We have no reason to be afraid. But I've always found that somewhat strange, the commandment, do not be afraid, because if I'm scared, if I'm afraid, I can't just turn that off automatically or just hope that the fear will magically melt away. It doesn't work that way, at least not in my experience. This is why in today's gospel, probably my favorite iteration of do not be afraid appears, where Jesus says, do not let your hearts be afraid. Do not let your hearts be troubled. In other words, Jesus is implying that there's a battle to be fought when it comes to obtaining peace. You see, each and every one of us, as a disciple of Christ, is a soldier. We receive that identity at our confirmation. We're soldiers for Christ. And what do soldiers do? They fight. So we shouldn't be surprised, as soldiers, to have a battle on our hands. The battle to obtain peace and to chase away fear. What are some of the methods of chasing away this fear, of doing battle against this fear? What are some of the methods of guarding our heart, not letting them be afraid? Well, the church has always taught that the Word of God is the best way to do that. St. Paul himself says that the Word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. So it's a weapon that can be used, an effective weapon that can be used in staving off fear and obtaining peace. So the next time you're fearful or afraid, maybe call to mind words like you find in the Psalm where it says, cast your fears onto the Lord. Okay? The word cast means heave. It implies action, effort. Or what St. Paul says in the letter to the Colossians, he says, set your minds on things above. Set your minds. The word set there doesn't just mean, like putting a book on a shelf and setting it there. It means firmly placing it there. So firmly placing one's mind on things above. So again, just know that when it comes to staving off fear and obtaining peace, the peace of Christ, there's a battle to be fought. It's an option to fight. Christ has made us soldiers. We shouldn't be surprised if we have a battle on our hands. So let's take Christ's word and not let our hearts be led astray, or not let our hearts be troubled by employing one of the best strategies and weapons that he's given us, and that's his very word.